welcome to What's Happening Now on KBLKradio.com, and thank you for tuning in. This is your host, Bishop Bowser, and we have a good one for you today. My guest for this morning is the Reverend Shane Harris and Miss Monica Kelly. All right, in our topic, we're going to be talking about community values, leadership, respect, accountability, and voting. That's important. But I want to take a moment and acknowledge the passing of a great man, one that really, a lot of time we're talking about Muhammad Ali, a lot of times we just think that, we're talking about a boxer, but he was way more than a boxer. And he was considered in some circles an outcast and in other circles a hero. And he faced many challenges, whether it was race relations or his religion or the war in Vietnam. I mean, he stood up like a man. He had principles and he did not compromise. And we love to see him in the ring. We love to see him out of the ring when he was talking or giving his speeches and so on. And he represented us well. So we most definitely thank God for that and for the contribution that he made to society. And we really appreciate that. So I want to get into, before I get into speaking with my guests, I do want to talk about one proposition that is, I think, very important for us to understand outside of all the other things. And I have Reverend Shane Harris in here, and he's going to really lay it out what he thinks is important about the voting and some of the folks that he may be endorsing and so on. But Proposition I is very important for us. And why is it important? Because the measure was approved by the San Diego City Council 2 years ago. And of course, Mayor Faulkner vetoed it. And this proposition, if it passed on June 7th, the San Diego minimum wage will be $10.50 as soon as the election is certified. And then now on that, he will, and it will go up to $11.50 in January 2017. More than 170,000 hard-working San Diegans will get a badly needed and overdue raise. Now, I ain't trying to start anything, but I don't know how folks are standing with Mayor Faulkner when he vetoed the minimum wage. When you're just looking out for the businesses and not looking out for everybody else, we got to find a compromise. He could have found a compromise. So the city had to push this ballot forward. And so this measure was designed to allow voters to decide whether to keep or reject the city council's minimum wage increase ordinance, known as the Earned Sick Leave Minimum Wage Ordinance, and it was approved in 2014. Now, let me give you a schedule. The minimum wage schedule, the ordinance was designed to set wages to increase according to the following schedule. $9.75 per hour on January 1st, 2015. And if it would have passed, we would have been receiving that. $10.50 per hour on January 1st, 2016. We would have received that if the bill was not vetoed. And then $11.50 per hour on January 1st, 2017, which we will receive that if it passed. So the wage attached to inflation beginning on January 1st, 2019, so it goes up based on inflation. Then it also offered a sick leave. The ordinance was also written to guarantee the opportunity to earn at least 5 days of sick leave for most employees, and that was a good bill. It's a good bill, I should say, and I think that at least I know I'm going to vote for. I can't tell you how to vote, but I know that I'm going to vote for it and try to make sure that we do what we're supposed to do. But here, listen here, I have with me today, as my guest, the Reverend Shane Harris and also Miss Monica Kelly. And I want to get into this, talking about community values, whether it's leadership or respect, accountability, and voting. And so, Reverend Shane Harris, my brother, how's things going?
Man, things are going well. This is the first stop of the day for me, and I really appreciate you having me here.
Mm-hmm. Busy day today?
Busy day, and every day is a busy day, but every day is a bright day.
Amen.
Because the Lord gives us every opportunity we have. It's a fresh day. It's a fresh vibe.
That's right.
And we're feeling it today.
That's right. Amen. Yeah. And keep it live and keep it going.
That's right.
Amen. So tell us about your project for this month. I saw you, doing some gun violence things, and so what's going on with that?
Well, first of all, let me say this: it's surely a privilege to be back here on KBLK Radio. This is where I've had my first radio show.
Yeah,
and it's certainly a privilege to be on your show. What's happening now? Because you are always on the front lines of what's happening right now.
Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to say real quickly before we got into that was Muhammad Ali.
Yes,
many have been watching what has happened in the past 2 days, and I think that America was probably a little bit more prepared for this one than we were for Prince.
Okay.
But I think that Muhammad Ali represents the value of what it is to actually be black in entertainment, in sports, in what it actually is to be African American and to really love your heritage.
Yes.
And one of the things that I think people miss is during the time that Muhammad Ali stepped away from boxing, or he didn't step away from boxing, during the time that he joined the Nation of Islam.
Right.
That was when the betrayal of white America dawned upon him.
Yep.
Because he was the leading source in sports.
Yes.
Brought in a lot of viewers.
That's right.
But when he made that move, it then brought a collusion to white America. And when he made that stance, he was willing even to sacrifice what he loved to do, which was boxing.
That's right.
To take on the calling of the people.
Right.
And I think that sometimes, and this is the message that we needed to get to people today, is that sometimes Muhammad Ali represents sometimes what we need to do.
Right.
We get so into our operations
Thank you.
that we're not willing to sacrifice for the people.
Thank you.
And that is what we're called to do here on the earth. And
Thank
so
you.
Muhammad Ali represents what black America should be today.
Thank you.
And that is to stand out and even sacrifice.
That's right.
The movies, sacrifice the money, sacrifice whatever you need to sacrifice so that the people can have full gain, and that he was willing to do that.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for that. And that's awesome because I remember I was a little kid. You know, I know a lot of folks probably weren't around during that time, but I know I was a little kid during that time. Well, I was a couple years old when he won the championship. That was in '64. I was born in '62. But I know in the '70s, you know, when he came back to fighting, I was young, but I remember all that very vividly. And you know, my father was a great supporter of Muhammad Ali, and of course, my dad would. I guess people had Cassius Clay, you know, so deep in it, so we would say Cassius Clay. But you know, Muhammad wasn't playing that. He said, "My name is Muhammad Ali." And I forget the one boxer he was fighting, and he was whooping. He said, "What's my name?"
Yeah.
What's my name?
Yeah. So it's very important for people to understand the sacrifice that many want to glamorize him for his boxing. They want to say that he was a great boxer, but they don't talk about him being a great activist.
That's right.
And he was an amazing activist who
right.
stood out for his values.
That's right.
And he was willing to put his values before his occupation.
That's right.
Which was boxing.
Amen. So now with the gun violence project that you have, what's going on with that?
Well, right now, Bishop, National Action Network, obviously 100 chapters all over the country.
Right.
You're a member of National Action Network here. And one of the things that are important to us is that we shine light upon the gun reform that Obama has been trying to present. We are sitting upon, and many blacks and some other folks, not many blacks, but some blacks and some folks have totally neglected President Obama, have said that he does not represent the black America. He's a nobody. But people forget that President Obama has made the first step, which is to break into America's consciousness.
Right.
And he has been able to use his voice and use some of his muscle to make some of those conscious statements.
Right.
So gun reform is another one of those things. And Reverend Sharpton has made a call to National Action Network all over the country that we stand for gun reform, and that we in our cities and our states make policy or partner with our Congress, our assembly members and our state leaders to be able to call for gun reform, national gun reform. National Action Network has taken a major stance on this. June 2nd, obviously, was Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Right.
This is Gun Violence Awareness Month.
Okay.
But one of the things that myself and Dr. Willie Morrow and Cheryl Morrow, who are board members of National Action Network, we said was that we didn't want to just have a regular conversation about gun reform and have a couple press conferences and close out. No, we said we wanted to hit the #1 urban community influencer, which are barber and beauty shops.
Gotcha.
And I think that one of the things that we've done is we've forgotten that barber and beauty professionals have the, if not the first pulpit, the second pulpit in our community.
That's right.
They see the pastor, they see the community leader, they see the disenfranchised, they see all and everyone sit in those barber chairs.
Right.
Why should we be neglecting the #1 urban community influence to not engage them in the conversations that are happening? And this is where we're beginning. We're beginning with Gun Violence Awareness Month. We've developed a whole infrastructure, Cone with a Cause. I'm going on a tour with Cheryl and Dr. Willie Morrow, and we're going to hit barbershops all over the county. We have a tour up. It's actually up on the website now.
When that tour start?
It starts, I believe, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Okay. We will be at the Beauty College on Elkhorn Boulevard. I forget it often in my head. But all the information is on www.nansd.net. They click on the Gun Violence Awareness tab and find out more information about the tour and what we're going to be doing. We're going to even tour the state. I'm going up to L.A. to a barbershop, big forum that's going to be held there. Then I'll head up further into San Bernardino. There's a barbershop there. So this is a push for national awareness, and we're going to go through the #1 urban community influencer and challenge those barber and beauty professionals to engage in the conversation.
That's good. So now I know you're trying to work on getting out the young people to vote. Why is that important?
It's important because, well, one of the things about getting young people out, I think young people are going to vote in this election regardless. What's important to me is that young people understand that voting is not just about presidents, but it's about policies, and it's about local officials that are running. And I'm challenging everyone. I went on KSI, I went on NBC, I'm going everywhere, and I'm saying that we must vote down the ballot. And what that is that we've got to vote past Donald Trump's rhetoric. Donald Trump has brought a rhetoric to America, and he is distracting the purpose of voting. He's trying to take us back, clock back into the 1960s and the times in Ronald Reagan, which was another reality TV star who ran for president. No, this is we're saying to Donald Trump, we're not going to let you distract us from voting down the ballot. Presidential race is important, but the policies like AB 2016, which is the ethnic studies bill, is important, and AB 1699, which is a bill that would enhance and increase funding for homeless and runaway youth across the state. That's important. And Prop I, those things are important. And we're going to vote for mayors, and we're going to vote for city council members, because these are the people that actually make an impact on our local lives and where we live in our cities. Amen. So we're challenging people, June 7th, get out the vote, but vote down the ballot.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, I know you endorsed Hillary Clinton. Why did you endorse her?
Well, what's important to me, and I've met with both of the presidential candidates, and have talked with both of them on several occasions. What was important to me was that we have our values out front.
Gotcha.
Number one. And me and Hillary had some great conversation, and I'm probably going to be rallying young people for across this country when we get past June 7th.
Right.
What's important to me, Bishop, is that we develop an infrastructure with the leading candidate. And in this race, the best situation that we had was Hillary Clinton, who's the leading Democratic candidate. Obviously, we weren't going to go to Donald Trump. And Bernie Sanders, who has shaken up the political atmosphere, he has been a revolutionary in politics, and he said what needed to be said. But Hillary's leading in delegates, and the reality is that Bernie is over half under Hillary in delegates. We have to realize what's really happening here, and that's why I endorse Hillary Clinton. I'm challenging young people to get behind the leading Democratic candidate. We can work with her on the issues, and Hillary has met with the mothers of the movement. Trayvon Martin's mother, Michael Brown's mother. She has met and is consistently working with these all these folks. She has apologized for the 1994 crime bill.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and thank you. We're going to come right back to you, and then we're going to get to Miss Monica Kelly. But we're going to take a quick break here, so stay tuned. We're going to a commercial, and we'll be right back. The venture that you have with Nick Cannon, what's going on with that?
Well, Nick Cannon and I actually kicked off Gun Violence Awareness Month
that's what that's about.
This month as well. on June 1st, we held a huge meeting, a huge last-minute call to action. I think we had 20 hours to plan, and we put together a huge last-minute call to action. Nick Cannon and I are partnering. We're both from Southeast San Diego.
Right.
And have both trailblazed some national conversation. He's done it for a long time. He's further than me on the national playing field.
Gotcha.
But we're going to work together to really develop an infrastructure to put San Diego on the map in various ways. And he's got a great thing that he's starting with his foundation, where he's going to be able to help job incubators, help these youth get their job, businesses start up.
Right.
And I think it's a great idea because it's one thing to bring awareness, and I said this at the meeting. It's another thing to have action behind your awareness.
Right.
And we have to develop an infrastructure that combats gun violence. And if we're going to do that, we must have things like job incubators, business incubators, where he's going to help people start their business, fund them to start their business. Of course, these youth got to present a great startup plan.
Right.
They got to present a business plan.
Right.
They don't just get the money. And I think in our community, especially in the black community, we sometimes expect people to just give me the money. No, we got to develop strong business plans and produce youth who are going to do some great things in business. So we're looking forward to working together. And of course, they can go to our website, www.nansd.net, to find out when me and Nick will be moving in on this action plan. We did collect around 150 emails and phone numbers at that meeting. And we will be following up with action strategy and plans.
Oh, good.
But people said, Bishop, what is the point of that meeting? What's the point of Nick Cannon and you holding a meeting? If nothing else, it was great to see me and Nick Cannon sitting together, and it was great to see us leading a meeting and a conversation. Nick is out there on entertainment,
right?
But he's even said himself, this was great social conversation, and sometimes we help each other,
right?
And that's what this is about, and that's why I'm trying to impact the entertainment realm, because those who are entertainers sometimes forget the real social consciousness of what you do.
Right.
And they have a lot of influence. So we're doing some great things together, and we're looking forward to following up with the community on a real action plan and strategy.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And so, Miss Monica Kelly, we want to bring her into the discussion, but first of all, tell us who Miss Monica Kelly is. We want to know who you are.
I am a native of San Diego, Southeast San Diego. I was born and raised here. I'm an active person in the community. I hold several different hats. I'm a member of 100 Strong. I'm the outreach coordinator. I built my own business, or branding a business called Fresh Soil.
Oh, okay.
Fresh Soil is an organization where I help girls in gangs, mentoring teen moms and at-risk youth. I've been working close to you. Actually, we graduated together 2 weeks ago at the Alliance San Diego Community Mentors Coalition.
And also they call it street outreach.
Or street outreach, yeah. We were able to do an 8-week course, and we had some real powerful people come and basically just give an overview what street mentoring or outreach workers really are. Some people think it's just about going out, holding a sign. No, it's way more deeper than that. You actually have to be able to go in communities, sit down and talk with these youth, try to build a relationship with them, and try to, if you can, seek fire.
Right.
Our goal is not to fix them, but at least offer the help to try to bring together awareness, and I think that's what we're going to be doing.
Right. Now, what is your, because I know you're talking about street outreach workers and working with our youth and young ladies, especially being in gangs and things like that, because I know that's one thing with Fresh Soul, one of the things you do. What is your experience in that area?
I am an ex-gang member.
Where are you from? I used to be from Skyline, Piru.
Okay. I started gang banging at the age of maybe 13 and a half, 14. Caught my first case at 14.
Wow.
I was locked up in juvenile hall. My first case was assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder. Back then, you had the what is that called? Self-Defense Act. So I was able just to do a couple of months, and then I messed around and violated and ended up in the GRF. And
what's that?
Girls Rehabilitation Facility.
Okay.
I did 9 whole months in there.
Okay.
And then I got out, and I was still kind of in the world. I was still, then from gang banging went to selling drugs. I was a known gang member, known drug seller for about 20 years.
You had a long career in that.
Yeah, I had a very long career. Not saying I didn't get caught.
How old were you when you get out?
Oh, maybe close to 28, 30. I saw my children mimicking what I was doing.
Yeah.
So it was time for me to stop and secure it all up.
How many children you got?
4 girls.
How old are they?
30, 28, 23, 24, and 22.
Okay, yeah,
Wow.
you're right. With me, my oldest is 32, be 33 this year.
Yeah, my oldest will be 30 in June.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
this on the 19th.
And your youngest is close to me.
Yeah, that's what he looked at. He said, "Whoa!"
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh man. So, what made you cross over and start transforming your life? What caused you to make that change?
Again, I started seeing my children kind of like mirroring what I was doing. You know, getting into trouble, hanging out with the wrong people, being in highly profile areas, and I just couldn't have it. I know I didn't like to be locked up. And then I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to be able to change this? So I had to redirect and start doing things in a positive manner. So
Right.
what I did was I started going to church. I got rededicated, and I've just been on that path ever since.
Amen.
It hasn't been an easy path because
never
temptation is there. However, I've been doing multiple things in the community, and I have to be able to let them see that, okay, if my mom can do this, or if Monica can do this, I can do this.
Right.
And so that's where it started.
Amen. Amen. So I want to ask both of you, because we are going to get into some juicy things here, and I think we have time to it. But, you know, one of the things I was thinking about is, you know, the new roots. And what do you guys think about that? We can go with you first, Reverend Shane, and then Miss Kelly.
Well, obviously, you know that National Action Network was the first place that that the New Roots was toured and viewed first.
Okay.
Before it came out and was premiered. And the reason why Roots team did that, they met with civil rights organizations because they wanted to make sure that this was properly done per se,
Right.
or looked at from a different perspective, from a light that we have known for a long time.
Right.
So National Action Network had the first premiere of Roots at our convention in New York, and Reverend Sharpton introduced the team, and it was great. In watching the premiere, it was definitely enlightening. I felt that the story was pretty on point, and that it was produced well.
Yes.
And it tells a fresh story of a history of a movie. And young people may not watch the old Roots,
Right,
but they may
right.
watch this new series, and
Right.
I think that's what's happening.
Right. Right. Miss Kelly.
To be totally honest with you, Bishop, I only caught half of it,
Uh-huh.
so I haven't had a chance to see the whole Roots. They did have
And it's
they
coming
did-
on
Yeah,
all the
they
time,
promoted it so well.
Yeah.
The actors, they're good actors, but I haven't really had a chance to see how I could identify the old Roots with the new Roots.
Right,
You
right,
know?
right.
Maybe it may be something there totally different that I didn't catch in the old one that I can that I. Once I see it, I'm going to catch in a new one, so I have to actually be able to see that first.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what the objective was with them is they most definitely were trying to reach a younger audience. They wanted to modernize it, you know, because people say, why do a new Roots? You know, because they wanted to modernize it, because, you know, there are folks that try to get their kids to watch the old one and it just looks too old, you know.
Right.
So they modernize it. And with me, I have to be honest, when it first came out, I like, oh man, I've seen all this before. But then, you know, one night I came home from the gym and it was on, and I watched it. I was like, man, this is good. So I had to go back and see all of it, you know.
Right.
And so I caught the news. I wait for the new one to come on and stuff, because it's really good. And when you understand systemic racism and how we deal with that today, you can see how it began. Back then in slavery, and even, you know, towards the end when they got freedom, and some of the things that, you know, white folks were saying to them, you saw that, hey, we're going to continue to oppress you. We're going to continue, and you see
Regardless.
that today.
Yeah.
And that mentality, even though people may not, in the white folks may not in their mind say I'm racist or I hate you, but if you get part of that system, that system works against people of color, especially blacks, you know, because we're a target for everything. So absolutely. So to each of you, do you see yourselves as a leader? Miss Kelly?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
definitely see myself as a leader.
Okay, and what role do you think you play in the community as a leader?
Well, being an ex-gay member and an ex-drug dealer, you know, people kind of look up to us when we make that transition. They can say, "Oh, I remember when she did this," or "I remember when she did that." Now look at her, and then they kind of want. Then they say, you know, "Oh, if Auntie can do it," because all my girls, they call me Auntie. And then when you get that Auntie role, that means you have a certain accountability of respect.
Right.
So if they see me making the change, then they're going to make the change. It's not an easy change. Transitioning from being an ex this and an ex that to now, you know, living for God and then doing what's right and making right decisions, it's not easy because we've always done things the wrong way. So now you have to turn that around and make things the right way. And it's not always easy to make that transition because people feel like, okay, I'm going to be labeled as, excuse me, a punk, or they're going to be looking at me funny, or, you know, so you have to get it, you have to really know who you are. And you really have to put yourself out there and be like, I know who I am. I know what I stand for. And regardless what the world says, I'm going to make this change.
Right. Right. Reverend Hare, now we know you're leader, but what is your role?
Well, actually, Bishop, I've had a turn of events in how I see leadership in the past few years.
Right.
And obviously, you know, I've been 13 years in the foster care system.
Right.
Both of my parents are gone. Went to Morris, went to Fulton, went to O'Farrell, grew up in Southeast San Diego, and had a
Now, let me just stop right there. Make it clear where you grew up, because I was hearing some folks, not the other day, and I was trying to tell them, no, he's from San Diego, and they were saying that you were from somewhere else, Escondido or somewhere. I said, no, he was in a foster care one time. And they said, I said, I think Escondido somewhere. He was in a foster care home. I said, but he's from San Diego.
Yeah, 13 years in the foster care system. Most of those years I lived in Southeast San Diego, went to Morris, went to O'Farrell, went to Fulton. There's no myth about that. They know where I'm from. They know, Skyline knows where I'm from.
Yes, that's Southeast.
Okay, because I walk those streets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Smoke that blunt. I mean, I did everything and anything you could think of. So make no mistake about it. But, you know, people see you now, and they think that you just arrived where you are. And they forget about your history, and so, you know, I think leadership, and at this point in my life, I think leadership is partnership. I think if you're a better partner, you can be a better leader.
Right.
And I've been able to really understand what it is. So I think, yeah, I see myself as a leader, more or less, but I see myself more or less as a partner with people. And when we partner, we can lead better because we are walking this even playing field.
Right.
And we're understanding that I have something you don't have and you have something I don't have, which makes us all greater.
Right.
So I think that that's a great leader, is to look aside from yourself and to see all the great gifts beside you that make up what you don't have.
And what do you see your role as a leader in the community?
I see myself as a connector.
Okay.
I see myself as someone who's able to. Many people have different gifts and talents.
Right.
You know, people said, "Why would you have a meeting with you and Nick Cannon?" You know, my job is to bring the people to the table.
Hey, I would have met with him if he would have a meeting with me.
Right. My job, Bishop. At this point in my life, I realize my job is on a greater scale as an activist is to bring people together and to bring a conversation, and that's what how I see my role as a leader.
Now, in the black community, do you all see any strong leaders in the community?
Yes. Pastor Shane, for one. You, too. There's Stacy Butler. There's Brother Tahu. Brother Tahu. Mario.
Cuts my hair.
And my grandson's hair.
Good brother.
My best friend, my partner is Olivia Dixon.
All right.
And there's Tasha Williams. There's a few leaders out here. And a lot of people don't take us seriously because they always look at our past and what we used to do. But it's not what we used to do or where we're from, it's what we're doing right now. And our mission is to better our community. Right. You know, to raise awareness, to promote Pastor Shane and his gun ventures that he has going on, and to get out there and really just push a mean line and try to stop this violence. We're not going to be able to fix anybody, but we can raise awareness. And when you got G's together who have been there and done that, then that kind of like opens up the eyes. You know, my whole thing is I want to get these parents involved. And I had an interview with a lady that was interested in me doing a restorative circle, and I said, you know what? Instead of putting these kids in a restorative circle, let's put some of these parents in a restorative circle because that's where it starts from.
Right.
Even though I grew up in Southeast, I gangbanged in Southeast, I sold drugs in Southeast. My kids were never a part of Southeast. I kept them in the back because I was scared of what's going to happen to them because I was so active. But then somehow, some way, they got on that trolley and was able to hit me and found their way. And then once I saw that, I'm like, oh no, I can't have this because I still had some haters out there. I still have some haters out there. But it doesn't matter to me because, again, I know what my mission is. I know what God has called me to do, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
Right.
Regardless of the fact if somebody doesn't like me or whatever, I'm still going to do what I need to do in this community. If I can help your child, you don't have to like me, but let me help your child. Because I've been there and I've done that.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they're just basically what they're doing the same thing that we were doing. They're gang banging, they're smoking drugs. This teenage prostitution is just over the top.
Right.
It's just way over the top. And I'm going to be, hopefully, if the Lord said the same, I'm going to be working with some girls that are victims of human trafficking. I've never did that myself, but I've known some people. I know some girls and some older women that have, been out there in that life and came out of that life. Some came out scarred, some came out all right. But in order for us to ways of running, you have to get those people that were in that lifestyle to talk to these young girls, because these young girls have no clue. They're just thinking, okay, he loves me and I'm going to get out here and do this for him and I'm going to show him how much I love him. But it's not even about that. You have to love yourself. You have to love yourself.
Reverend Shane, do you see any strong leaders in the community, black community?
Oh, most definitely, I do. I think that it is a little dimmer. I mean, we don't have as many. I wish we had more. But I do see leaders in the African American community and in the minority community who are standing up in their lane. I think that now I understand, what it is. When I first came into civil rights and activism, and I started, I got angry because I said, we out here fighting for Shelley Monroe in Santee, an African American woman who is dealing with racism in Santee. Where's all the other black folks who? But I think now, when you understand your purpose, you don't get offended when people don't show up. You keep doing what you got to do. And I think that now I understand that there are leaders all over the community who are doing their lane. And when you respect other people's lane, they're leaders just like you are, and they respect your lane, or they may not. Like Miss Kelly said, haters, me, you, and Monica got haters. But when you know what you're called to do, you don't listen to those voices. You focus on the voices who are making noise in their lane. There's one point I wanted to make about gun violence, because you mentioned that. People say, what's your goal? To stop gun violence? We talk about ending things. We talk about ending homelessness, ending gun violence. We can't end nothing, but we can decrease it.
That's right.
Yes.
And our goal is not to end gun violence, but it's to decrease gun violence and to bring a fresh conversation. So,
and that's important when you talk about bringing that fresh conversation, because if we can do nothing else, let's reach as many people we can and educate them about it and get people to understand, what gun violence is all about, and then they can make their own choices of what they're going to do and how they're going to contribute.
And as a community, we've got to be more realistic with ourselves. We're not going to end anything. You don't have the power. One voice, one person doesn't have the voice to end anything. But we have the power to decrease things.
That's right.
And that is what we will be doing this month. And past June, I hope that we can engage barber and beauty professionals all over the country in all kinds of social conversation, because they are really speaking to everybody. Tal Baraka Mario, he's speaking to a lot of people. These are the people that we need to engage, people that influence other people.
Absolutely.
Connected to them. So yes, we do see leaders though.
So what makes a great leader? Any one of you can answer that.
What makes a great leader? Just getting involved, being a listening ear and taking what, the concerns of the community, taking them seriously and really trying to help any situation that we're going through. And then show up. Don't just say, okay, I'm going to be there. Show up. Hold yourself accountable, and just really just engage in when you were out in the world, you did all kinds of stuff. So apply that same energy to making the change. So I think a good leader is one that shows up, listens, and supports.
Reverend
Yeah,
Shane?
I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. I think a great leader is a great partner.
Amen.
Somebody who can partner with anybody,
Right.
and be able to find some outcomes and find some vision. So I think any great leader should definitely have the partner ability. Should definitely have the ability to pick up their phone and communicate. Like I said, I've been on a tour and really trying to build further partnerships with great people in our community, and some who we agree with, some who we don't.
Right.
There's people I've sat down with, I don't agree with them,
Right.
but I'm going to work with them.
Right.
And I think a great leader is committed to working even with those who they know are hating on them, who they know don't like them. It's being able to sacrifice your own personal feelings and emotions to be able to further the cause.
Right.
And that is where I'm stepping into that realm, and it's a great place to be.
All right. So, community, when we talk about community values is about respect. So what does respect mean to you? And we begin with you, Reverend Shane, and then Ms. Kelly.
So community respect. What does it mean to me? I think community respect to me is partnership. Once again, someone who the community views as, I don't agree with everything they represent.
Right.
I don't agree with everything they do.
Right.
But they're a great partner. They know how to pull people together. They know how to bring people together. Community respect ultimately is to be able to bring people together. Is to be able to be a voice in the middle of screeching noise. Is to be able to be a voice in the middle of storms. And I think that is what community respect is. When people can look at you, and in spite of all the noise around you, they can hear your voice.
Right.
And they can hear the call to community as a whole in partnership.
Right.
That they respect that, and they
Right.
view that as a major leader in the community.
Absolutely. Ms.
I'm
Kelly.
gonna take the words from Pastor Shane. He said it all in a nutshell.
Amen. And let me just add a little bit here, because when you talk about partnership, that is so important, and you got to have that respect in those partnerships. And so, a lot of times, so when you talk about respect, we got to respect each other in our differences with our religion. We got to respect each other in our differences in the sexual orientation or your gender or your age. I mean, all those different things we have to look at when we're talking about working together and community values. Everyone is a part of that community, no matter who they are. Now, you may not believe what I believe as a pastor in a church and so on, but when it comes to the community, I have to respect you, in your respective position. And so many times what we find is that there's a lot of disrespect or that, well, that I don't agree with that. Well, you don't, like you were saying, we don't have to agree on it. We don't have to get along.
Right.
But we got to respect each other.
Right.
We should, and there are issues that are so important that is bigger than us, that we should be able to sit down and work together on.
Now, I do want to say something to that point, though. We should be also aware, for the listeners that are listening too, that because we're trying to partner, doesn't mean that I won't use my voice when you're wrong.
Thank you.
And I think that we've got it. I don't want people to get it twisted now. Reverend Shane said he going to partner, and then he sees somebody calling somebody out in a press conference. There are times where it's necessary to use your voice and your sternness to make a clear point.
That's
When I stood down at the DA's office for Robert Branch and what we're doing, you cannot have kumbaya moments.
That's right.
Miss the action in your community.
That's right.
And there are times where you must use your voice. Yes, kumbaya is great, and I hope we could all get along. But I also know that if I got to get up one day and say something that needs to be said for the community, I will not risk the community's voice for you who are trying to sort of partner with me, lock me up. I ain't gonna let nobody lock me up. We gonna partner. I'll work with you, but don't get it twisted. If you cut my community or you cut the people in our community, I'm going to use my voice to speak up. And I think it's to be able to have a fine line between agreeing and disagreeing and partnering, but also being able to speak up. I just wanted to make that clear, because I don't want anybody to say, well, Reverend Shane said he's going to work with everyone. Now, I didn't say I was going to work with everyone. I didn't say I was going to work with everyone. I said I'm going to try my best to partner. But the goal is the people and the cause eventually. And if we don't come to terms on that, and there's reasons why, because you got people in our community who are selling out, who sell out to downtown, who sell out to the high 1% in our cities, and those people should know that that's wrong. And whatever it takes to get that message across, we need to do that. But I think that the ultimate goal is to find partnership even in your disagreements.
Exactly. And here's the thing: is that I think people take things too personal.
Right.
I try not. Sometimes I do, but that's on me. I got to pray and ask God to help me get through that. That's on the other person, because this is not personal. But I see people take things so personal where we operating on principles.
Right.
We're operating like you talking about. We're operating. Okay, this affects the community. I love you, and you have my respect. But on this issue,
yeah.
We're not going to see eye to eye.
Right.
And we might be fighting against each other,
right.
but don't take it personal.
Right.
It's just, whatever issue we're dealing with, we have to learn how to respect each other,
right?
Love each other.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I have to be in bed with you and,
right.
metaphorically speaking, hugging and kissing like we're, we may not do all of that.
and Bishop, another point that's important, you said, what is community respect? I think that community respects someone who's able to be consistent.
That's right.
There's a lot of people who start out in this thing, and there's a lot of people who start out in this thing and they talk and they talk and they talk and they talk. But there's some people who stayed consistent in this thing,
right?
And the community will respect that leader. We may go to fight and bat on this, but like my leader, Reverend Al Sharpton, people talk all day about Reverend Sharpton.
That's true.
Reverend Sharpton has stayed consistent.
Yeah.
He's 61 now. He's
consistent.
more on fire than he's ever been, and that is the kind of leadership we need. We need leadership that stays consistent, that doesn't just get in because the storms are hot,
right?
That doesn't just get in for a hashtag,
right?
But somebody who understands we're going to be here for the long haul. Even if the community walks away from me, I'm going to stay consistent, and the community will come back. They'll say we respect that because they stayed on it.
That's right, absolutely. So, Miss Kelly, have you experienced any disrespect to you because you're a woman?
Oh, yes.
Operating in the community?
I've been told that my business wasn't going to flourish. I was told that I'm just in here part-time. She'll go back to the old her. Just wait. Well, to the ones that said I was going to go back to the old me, I've been doing this since 2006. It's 2016, and I'm still active.
Come on now.
I'm still active. It's not, I'm not going to go anywhere. I was born and raised here, and to be totally honest with you, what's going out in the world right now, we kind of birthed that.
Right.
We did that. So now it's our job to fix it. Don't get mad at the community because there's somebody or a couple of people in there disrupted it. You're the reason. You're the reason. So let's go ahead and try to fix the reason, And as far as the respect part goes, I was respected back then. I'm more respected now in my newness than I was back then because, I was a high drug dealer, gang member, knew how to fight, ain't lost too many of them. I was good from the shoulders, but I'm better at what I'm doing right now.
Amen.
I'm better at it. So yeah.
Amen. What about you, Rev. St. Harry?
Well, Bishop, me and you stepped into the Penal Code 182.5 fight.
I was there with you.
And you were there too. At the same time, and me and you and Pastor Fletcher, I think, were one of the few pastors who stood up during that time. I was pastoring at that time,
right.
And people said, Mark Jones was around, who was leading the movement thing. People said, Shane won't be here long. He won't be here long. He got in this thing because as a pastor, he's trying to get his voice out, and he's trying to do this, and he's trying to do that. The antics and all of the conversations during that fight, the case went national. And when I joined with Reverend Sharpton, I continued that fight with the Penal Code.
Right.
Brandon and Aaron and others got off, and they were able to move on in their life. That fight continued for me.
Amen.
And people said, he won't be here long. He's making the paper. He's making this. He's making that. Today, as we speak, they have not stopped me.
Whether we're looking at, folks that align themselves with the DA, align themselves with the mayor, and people can do whatever they want to do.
Right.
But when it's contrary or conflicts with our community values and the direction that we're trying to go in, and so how do we hold these people accountable? You know what I mean? Because I see it even now. I see folks aligning themselves with people who don't mean the community any good as a whole.
Yep.
Especially the black community and all the things that we've been through, and so on. How do we hold these folks accountable?
Well, I just basically think you just have to get in their faces. You have to hold them to what they say, and you have to, again, you have to hold them accountable. You have to hold them accountable, and there's a lot of people that, like you say, go their own separate way. But it's that whole it's all about me thing, and I want to do it by myself. There's just no way you can do nothing. You can't change Southeast by yourself.
Right,
you can't change
That's right.
this whole environment by yourself.
That's right.
You got to have some help.
That's right.
You had help destructing it, so you have to have help putting it back together. So and that's the problem that I have. Everybody wants to be to themselves. You know, no one wants to partner up and come together. You know, and engage in this. Okay, let's just make this one whole movement. Everybody wants to do this by herself. I want to get this check by myself. I want to do this. I don't think that's. Right. I don't think that's really right. We came in this together, so we should go out together. Exactly. Let's collaborate together. Yes. You bring your values to the table. You bring your values to the table. Pastor Shane, you bring your values to the table, and let's engage in the community as a whole and see what we can come up with. Right. Because somebody's always going to have what's the word I'm looking for? They're always going to have a better solution than you do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think, you know, what if we come together and stop doing that whole crab in the bucket and trying to beat the first one to the top, we'd be a better community.
Right, absolutely. You know, my thing is that, you know, when you take a stand in the community and even when you hold people accountable or whatever it is that you're trying to do, I find that if, you know, especially people that think they have influence and power in our communities, they try to hurt you. You know, they'll try to attack you. You know, if you got funders coming in and thing, they'll go to your funders and try to get them to stop funding you or donating to your organization. They'll come together and meet the plot against you to try to hurt you some kind of way. Versus, you know, just we're dealing with principles. Deal with that. Deal with the principle. Deal with the issues that we're addressing. Don't attack me. Don't try to. And that's why, as a pastor, I try not to put myself in a position where anybody have power over my life. Because, like Muhammad Ali, you know, that way I can take a stand. You can do whatever you want to do. Because I'm not so stuck on this or so stuck on that or anything. And like a gentleman told me the other day, it's either need or greed. And so if we get caught up in the greed and all that kind of stuff, whether it's popularity or money or power, you know, if that's what become the issue for us, then people can use that against us to try to shut our mouths. I agree. And if we operate on principles and we're willing to go down swinging, hey, you know, swim pairs will survive. I'm standing on this and I'm gonna be consistent in it. Then I think that, you know, people can't intimidate us by trying to threaten us with something. I'm gonna take this or I'm gonna attack the world. Go ahead and do what you got to do. Because no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to shut my mouth.
Right.
And you know, Bishop, one of the things I think about, and I'll finish here, is that when we were fighting the penal code and we fought that fight, people said, why did he stay consistent? Why did he, you know, I see him on TV, I see him. They think that the cameras drive me. They think that different things drive me. No, I said that what woke me up with that thing was the beast that we face.
Yes, absolutely.
And that policies have to be impacted. That's and we must get our hands in this stuff and really put our teeth in. And that woke me up as a pastor. Amen. And that's why I said the further I got into the pulpit was the further, and this is not every pastor's story, but for me, the further I got into the pulpit, the further away I got away from the people's issues. And that's why I left the senior pastor role over a church to step into activism as a preacher. I'm still a preacher, still preaching churches, but that doesn't control. I am in the community because what I understand as a preacher is that as someone who leads people, as someone who has influence in the pulpit, we should be using our pulpits to influence our people and not keep our people in slavery. And the history of the church, there's a big history with slavery in the church, and I got to go into that another time.
But you're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely.
So that penal code, that thing woke me up, and that's why I fight the way I fight. Because I feel where I came from, and I know that others are fighting in their community. We have to use our voice and of influence to speak up.
Absolutely. Ms. Kelly, any final words, anything else you want to add and say? Or
just that, first of all, let me thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being on.
Pastor Shane, it was always a pleasure meeting you and seeing you again. I just want to just send a shout out to different people. Brother Tahu, Olivia, Dixon, and definitely God for giving me this opportunity and giving me the strength to continue on with my mentoring. It's not easy for me because not only am I done raising kids, but I've gotten my grandkids, so I'm working full time. Then I'm raising 2 toddlers, but I'm also an active person in our community. And so again, I'm just going to ask that if just get involved, just
Right.
help.
Right.
If you can just sit 1 hour, or just come to a meeting and see what we do. Or how you can help or how you can benefit from that. Just
Right.
take that time to do that. Don't wait until the inevitable happens. Don't wait till, something bad or something tragic in your household happens before you want to take a stand. Take a stand now before that happens. You might be able to curve that.
Yeah. Like Mr. Butler say, when you're on those corners and trying to get, you say, not my son, yes, your son.
Yeah,
Not
yes,
my
your
daughter,
son.
yes,
Yes,
your
your
daughter.
daughter.
Don't, and you're trying to get them out there before it happened.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people wait until something happens, then talk about how they're going to be active.
Yeah.
That's fine, but we rather see it before then,
Right.
and so that we've got to get into preventive measures rather than reacting.
Join the movement.
All right.
Get involved in the National Action Network or any other organization.
Amen.
But if you want to join the National Action Network and get involved, Bishop Bowser and I work together, do a lot of great work with the National Action Network. We about action.
That's right.
If you want to get involved, go to www.nansd.net. Our network is about black, white, Hispanic cultures, creeds, religions, wherever you're
Right,
from.
yes.
Get involved in something.
Amen.
And empower yourself for community input.
Miss Kelly.
And we're taking more applications for more mentors. We do need more mentors. One person can't do it alone. So if
That's
you're
right.
interested in mentoring youth, or if you're interested in getting involved in our community, go ahead and email me at freshsoil24@gmail, and I'll be happy to help you.
All right, there you have it. Want to thank you, Reverend Shane Harris and Miss Monica
Thank you for having
Kelly,
us. Thank you
for
for
being
having
on the
us.
show, and we got to do this again. I also want to encourage our listeners to come by and visit us at Charity Apostolic Church, 610 South 30th Street, on Saturdays at 11:30. So thank you for tuning
Vote
in. And
June 7th.
That's right, June 7th. Get out there and vote.
Down the ballot.
All right. That's it. That's it. Down the ballot. So we thank you, and we hope to hear from you. We hope that you will tune in with us next week as we come to you with another great show. God bless you, and have a great day.